Why do so many of us wait until our body gives in to then rest? When was the last time you rested before you absolutely had to? I recently watched this Bon Jovi interview clip, and honestly, I couldn't stop thinking about it, so I wanted to talk about it.
After 4 consecutive albums and tour in a row, and in the good 7, almost 8 years of living out of a suitcase, we were tired. We were really tired. Our tours are pretty extensive. They last 200 plus shows each tour, and we really needed a break, and we planned a break, and we wanted to get away for a while. And once we did, it lasted about 2 years. The respective solo projects and all the side gigs, we got it back together.
He's talking about how they did 4 albums back to back, touring the entire time, like 200 plus shows a tour, almost 8 years of basically living out of his suitcase. And he just says, we were tired. That's it. Not some dramatic story, just we were tired. So we planned a break, and it ended up being 2 years. And I kept replaying that word in my mind, planned, because we don't normally plan breaks. We wait until we're already falling apart, and then we're like, okay, fine, I guess I have to stop now. There's actually research on this. Burnout isn't something that happens in 1 week. It builds up over a long time of your body not getting what it needs. And by the time it actually shows up, it's already been building for a while, which when I read that, I was like, yeah, that tracks, because it's never one thing for me either. It's just a bunch of small things I have ignored for months. And for me, it shows up in how I interact with people. I can be short. My tone can display that I'm irritated. I become impatient and annoyed when people ask me for a favor, but I can't because I don't have the capacity to do it. Through journaling, I was able to identify these patterns, and it caused me to intentionally slow down. Now I have slower mornings. I've already learned to say no without guilt. And this year, I started observing the Sabbath, actually resting 1 full day, not just physically stopping, but stepping back from work, from school stuff, from being available to everybody and anybody. And I want to say, I know not everyone's able to fully do this the same way. Some of you have kids, jobs that don't stop, responsibilities I don't have. But for me, I've been feeling convicted about it for a while and kept putting it off. And when I finally started, I was nervous for sure. I'm not going to lie. I genuinely thought I was going to fall behind. That stepping away 1 full day a week was going to cost me something, but it did the opposite. I finished the school year with better results than I had the 2 years before it. So God be the glory. And what it really did was force me to actually prioritize what mattered and stop avoiding the stuff I've been putting off, instead of just feeling every day trying to get things done all at once. And I think for a lot of us, especially if you're the one everybody comes to, resting on purpose just feels wrong somehow. Like, who am I to just decide I'm done for a while when people still need things from me? But then I watched this clip of a whole band saying we need to take 2 years. And I was like, okay, well, if they can say that, you can probably say I need this weekend, or I need to not answer that text right now, because whew, I started thinking about where I even learned to be overly committed and allergic to rest. Interesting enough, my family did observe Sabbath, but it felt more like punishment because we couldn't watch television or listen to music. But nobody taught me how to rest. I grew up in a Caribbean household where, in mine at least, having 2 to 3 jobs was the norm. I learned how to work. I learned how to push through. I learned how to be dependable. But I don't know that anybody ever taught me how to stop before I was exhausted. But God did tell us He built rest into creation before burnout ever was a thing, which means rest wasn't created as a reward for exhaustion. It was designed as a part of the rhythm of our life. Oh, He's so good. But to add, burnout for you may look like crying in the shower. Sometimes it's being irritated by people you love. Sometimes it's feeling guilty while you're resting. Sometimes it's losing interest in things you used to enjoy. Sometimes it's scrolling for an hour because making one more decision feels impossible. Sometimes it's looking productive on the outside and exhausted on the inside. Sometimes it's resenting a commitment that you made to support someone. You don't have to have a breakdown to actually be burned out. There's actually research behind why planning rest before you're completely burned out is so important. And I think it's worth knowing so it doesn't just feel like a nice idea. So here's 5 things that actually help with burnout, not just surface level advice either. So 1, Build an actual non-negotiable rest day, whether a full day, a half day, or an hour. You can decide if it's a specific day of the week or fluctuates between days depending on what you have going on during that week. Studies on recovery from chronic stress show your body needs full disengagement to actually reset. A shorter day where you're still half checking your phone doesn't give your nervous system the same recovery, but starting with an hour a day is at least a start. 2, protect your sleep like it's an appointment, like your hair appointment, your nail appointment, whatever you focus on, like that. Chronic sleep restriction has been shown to impair your decision making and emotional regulation almost the same way as being sober drunk would. So a lot of what feels like I can't handle anything today is really just sleep deprivation. 3, say no to something before you're forced to. Burnout research consistently points to chronic overcommitment, not one hard season as the actual driver. It's not the busy month that gets you. It's never having an off ramp. 4, name what you're avoiding instead of numbing it with busyness. A lot of us stay busy specifically to not deal with something, and studies on avoidance coping show it actually increases anxiety over time instead of reducing it. It does not fix the problem, even though in the moment it feels like relief. And 5, track your wins weekly, not just your to-dos. When I started paying attention to what I actually completed each week instead of everything that was still left to do, it brought me a sense of relief rather than being stressed. Because no matter how much I got done, my brain was always focused on what was missing, what I hadn't finished, what still needed attention. And after a while, it started to feel like I was constantly behind. What stood out to me wasn't that Bon Jovi took 2 years off. It was that they planned it, because most of us are waiting for burnout to make the decisions for us. And maybe part of becoming the woman we're trying to be is learning to make that decision before we get there. It's important to be a woman who can recognize her limits and respond before she's forced to. So I just want to introduce myself real quickly. My name is Raven, and I am an identity transformation coach. I work with women who are tired of feeling like they should be further along in life by now. And honestly, the reason I do this work is because for a long time, I thought I had a motivation thing going on. I thought I wasn't disciplined enough. I thought I wasn't committed enough. I thought if I just found the right planner, the right night routine, the right system, then I'd finally be consistent, the right environment. Like, it was just a lot. I tried a lot of things. And what I've learned over these years is that a lot of women feel the exact same way. They're smart, they're capable, they're doing all the things. They know what needs to be done, but knowing and doing are two different things. And somewhere in between the lines, life happens. You're tired, you're overwhelmed, you're carrying all of these responsibilities while trying to take care of yourself, trying to become a different version of yourself. So when I work with women, we're not usually starting with another habit tracker or another productivity hack. We're looking at what's actually getting in the way. What's making following through so hard? What's keeping them stuck in the same cycle, even when they genuinely want something different? Most of the women I meet don't need more information. As much as I'm a teacher, it's not about the education sometimes. It's more so time, and it's more so accountability. They need help becoming the woman who can actually live out what she already knows. If you're interested in working with me, you can email me at getcandid@candidsoulco.com. Or if you're interested in learning more about the work that we do, the workshops that we have, and other resources, you can join our tribe, our Candid Soul tribe, by clicking the link in our bio. Or if you just want more content, follow for more. Take care.